Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and I'm back with another first look video. And this is one of my favorite games. I've mentioned it I don't know how many times in my various playthroughs. I've done several playthroughs with it, but it's Out of the Park Baseball. Version 22 just released as I'm recording this. Is the official day of release, and I'll probably release it actually on YouTube today, March 26th. But I pre-ordered. I've been playing around a little bit with the beta version. Seems pretty stable. Usually is, honestly. I haven't had too many problems with the last few versions of this game. But I'm going to do a first look today. I've got a test game going with my Phillies, my favorite team, for using the 2021 rosters. And I might look at some gameplay, 3D gameplay. That's something I've done with the last couple versions. I don't typically play out my games. It's something I used to do way back when I first started playing this game. I would play out every game, but I don't really have the time to do that as much anymore. And for me, if you've seen some of my playthroughs, you'll know I get a lot of enjoyment out of developing players. I probably get more enjoyment out of developing players than I do winning World Series titles. I love getting guys that I've drafted into the Hall of Fame, for instance. So I like to generate a long career, and that's how I treat my playthroughs. And yeah, I'm gonna have a playthrough or more of this game throughout the summer, spring and summer. But today I just wanted to give you a look at some of the things that I've kind of noticed that are new. Look like they're going to be a good addition to this game, this version of it. So we'll look at that and then play through a couple of innings, or maybe a few innings of a game to let you know what that graphics engine looks like. Like I say, even though I don't play out my games, they year to year they've made advancements and enhancements to that 3D gameplay, and I just think it's a good showcase for how far this game's come. Whether you use it or not, it at least gives you an idea of the kind of work they put into this game year to year. So let's go ahead and get it started. I'm going to load up my Phillies test save here. Just want to mention too, I haven't played this game in a while, but I'm planning on getting a playthrough or two going. I don't know which team to go with yet. I'm still deciding it. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. I did want to let you know about another playthrough series I've been running with Draft Day Sports College Basketball. I'm having a lot of fun with that game. If you're into Out of the Park Baseball, I recommend you maybe check out some of my playthroughs there. I see a lot of similarities. The enjoyment you get from the game is really close because it's tough to build a winner year to year. It's a good challenge, but I just recommend it because I've never seen college basketball, or basketball really in general, handled the way that game handles it. It's a great computer sports management game, so I recommend you check that out. And also, make sure you subscribe to my channel because you'll get some notifications when I do start running some of these Out of the Park 22 playthroughs, and you'll see when the videos are released if you're interested. And hopefully you'll, one of the things I like about the viewers I get on these games, I always get great suggestions from you. And even though I've been playing this one for a while, I know the college basketball one, I don't think I would have been able to have any kind of success with that one had I not gotten some good feedback. So leave your feedback, whether it's just, hey, you suck, or whether you want to say, hey, I enjoy your channel, I appreciate it. But for this Phillies team, this comes to the main screen here, and this is, I'm using like a 27-inch monitor. I like going with a pretty good amount of information on my homepage. You might want to go just 2 columns, 2 rows, for instance. I know some playthroughs I've seen on YouTube, whether I don't know if they're using a laptop maybe, or if this just the way they like doing it. Hopefully it'll translate to the screen pretty good when you're watching this on YouTube. But for me, as much information as I can get going, that's that's kind of the way I like it. I like to see snapshots of my team leaders. I like to see standings. I like to see finances, goals. This tells you. I do play with the owner goals. I think it's an added challenge that brings a little bit of fun to it, and you can see how your progress is going. If it's in green, you're meeting the progress. If it's in blue, you're exceeding it. Red, you're not. So those are kind of things I like looking at. Team stat rankings. But first thing I was going to show, just to know, this is easily modifiable, if that's a word. It's easily modified. If you go in here to screen setup, you can choose up to 12 rows. I mean, it can get really busy. You can choose up to 20 columns, which would be, this way. For me, what is that? 3x4 is pretty much how I like to go. But you can choose all kinds of different things to add here. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that you might like to see, and just know that I think what you have to do is you have to change the configuration, which I'm not going to do here, to get to see the additional things you can add. But I think it might even be something like 30 different things you can add. You can add team news here, injuries. Another thing I like to do is who's hot and who's not. But home screen is modifiable. That's the first thing. In terms of what I'm seeing for this version, I think the biggest thing that I'm really interested in playing around with, and I'll just jump right to it. If you've gone to the forums or if you've gotten any emails or any notifications about this year's version of the game, you're really going to see a little bit of addition, well, quite a bit of an addition, really, to how your coaching staffs are handled now. And I'll look at it, there may be a more direct way, but I'll go into front office, and you've got personnel and staff roles. First thing with personnel, you've got some extra coaches here to look at. Your first and third base coach. They're also going to have reputation and personality ratings. They've got a type, which is fairly standard from last year. I noticed, from what I can tell, I don't know if there's any different choices that are going to come up when it comes to type. When you open them up, though, you're going to see a whole lot of different things. Even though they're third base coach, they're still going to have their manager attributes here. The strategy when it comes to the rosters, do they favor veterans or rookies, prospects? Do they like pitching over offense, speed over power, those kind of things? But this is one of the key things right here. The ratings are more in depth when you bring up your coaches. Like, here's Dusty Wathan, third base coach. He's got the reputation, personality, the things that we saw in previous version. But look at all these things down here. Handles development, influences mechanics, handles aging, in-game running is good, which makes him a good coach, right? A good base coach. Teach running, he's good. Excellent. Good reason, again, that he's the third base coach. But he also has some abilities here, like teach catching defense, infield defense, outfield defense. So you can look at these ratings, match them up, right? And another thing that's been added is staff roles. So not only do you have your usual roles like bench coach, just being basically a bench coach, pitching coach, being your pitching coach, but you also have teaching roles. Teach catcher, teach infield, outfield, and running. So for each of these categories, you click the drop down and you'll get the coaches on your team who have these abilities, I guess, who are able to teach catchers, are rated to teach catchers. And just like the other rating scale goes from poor to legendary, the better your coaches are at these talents or skills, you want to match them up with the role that you're putting them in. And so obviously the big thing here is how much of an impact is a good coaching staff going to have on a team. And I can't wait really to get deep into this. And I think it's going to take you, several playthroughs, several seasons really to tell. But especially if you just pick up the game and start playing with the staffs and rosters that are going to be available, it's going to take you a while to generate your own staff. You're going to have to fire these guys, or their contracts are going to have to go up. But man, I'm really liking this edition. When it comes to staff cohesion, this is new. For us right now, we're at static, which is great. But you're going to have, your coaches are each going to have these works well with, struggles with, on top of their old school player and relationships and personality. So if you've got somebody up here like Joe Dillon, for instance, he works well with temperamental, but he struggles with personable. Well, unfortunately, we got several personable personalities on this team, mainly in the front office. But is that gonna help or hinder him? I don't know. Is that gonna impact staff cohesion? It could. And what kind of impact is staff cohesion gonna have on the team? That's where you're probably gonna have to play around with it, and also that's something I'm going to be focusing on in my playthroughs. If I improve these coaches and if I match up these temperaments to where our cohesion is high, and these guys their talents when it comes to the teaching roles are high, what kind of difference it's going to make, especially on a young team. So I can see, your strategies being really impacted by this whole personnel staff role aspect that's been added to this game. I know, one of the things that I always focused on with my playthroughs, and if you watch some of my previous seasons and runs with this game, I really spent a lot of time making sure that I had coaches with a good reputation, player relationships were good. Like, you want to look at the relationships to make sure that they're going to impact your top players. And one of the things that's new with that this year too is, like, before it was like it would list who they had a good relationship with, then who they had a bad relationship with. I think that's pretty much as far as it would go. This year you've got levels of it. So you've got this guy, he works, he has great relationship with these guys over here, going all the way down the line to poor. Well, one of the things you don't want to do is hire a coach who's going to have an excellent relationship with maybe, some fringe players, but who has a poor relationship with your star players. Like, this guy doesn't get along with Aaron Nola. That's not a good idea, or that's not a good sign out of the bat or out of the gate. But hopefully they won't impact too much because of the role that he has on this team, which right now is just first base coach. But a lot of stuff to play around with here. I think this is probably going to really add some strategy to the game going forward. So another thing I wanted to talk about, I don't know if I've talked about much in the past. It was always there, but I think they've revamped it a little bit, and that's the strategies. And mainly, these strategies down here are going to be things you can set that allow you to just kind of, the way I'm playing, sim out the games and feel like your coaching strategy is going to be handled by the AI, like the use of openers. I'm going never with that. I'm old school traditionalist. I don't much like it, but you can go frequently. You can go however you want to go, and you're going to have things here for defensive substitutions, things like that. I don't know if that was in previous versions, may have been, but something that as I've played around with this one, I've noticed, and it's something that I'm hoping to spend a little time with this year on my playthroughs. I like the presets. Like, for me, I use what is this preset called? Even though my manager stuff, no, this is the bench coach, sorry. So these are the strategy that I put in there. I think it's a moderate sabermetric, but you have some really good strategies already built in, but then you can go around and what I would suggest is loading one that kind of matches what you want to do, or the kind of player or kind of play you'd like to see, the kind of coach you'd like to be, manager you'd like to be if you had the chance, and then play around with it from within there. If you go to like the basic traditional one or balanced one, it's going to be pretty much straight up and down the middle. You could do that too, but I like picking one of these presets that's close to the way I would like to see it play out, and then just go in here and adjust. And I don't know how deep I'm going to go into some of these other things, but man, look how in depth this is. You can go. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 8. I think different strategy situations you can account for. I just go with that moderate sabermetric all the time, but I may play around with this as we go along, and I think that would be kind of fun to see just how much of an impact it has. I love having speedy teams. Another thing, if you've watched some of my previous playthroughs, you'll recognize that right away. But I like really speed over power if I had to choose. I like high average, high contact offenses with a lot of speed. So maybe I'll just do something like, I'd like to use pinch runners a lot. That's another thing. But maybe I'll just steal. Instead of never here, like frequently, be really aggressive. But I'm going to have the team for that. Right now, looking at the Phillies team that I have, and I've got them up to 2 games above 500. I don't know if this team is going to be that good in real life, or really if that's something you can do in the game, get this team over 500. Matter of fact, I've done Phillies runs before, but I'm so tempted because I know this team a little bit more than others, and I do think they're going to be a challenge this year. They've got some things in their contracts, and you've got some contracts like with Mccutchen. I don't think Real Muto, as good as he is, I don't think he's going to retain that value late in his career. Probably the same as Zach Wheeler and Bryce Harper. And then you've just got a really poor bullpen, that you're going to have to address really right away. I haven't been able to do much with it this season, but they're a good challenge. But I feel like it would be fun going forward, though, whatever team I pick or whatever team you pick, to really get into those strategies. I just think it could open up a whole level of play, and it's something I haven't really done too much of previously, but I want to go into it this year. Those are 2 things I really wanted to hit on. I think a lot of the things that a lot of the changes are kind of under the hood, as they call it, like the Ballpark Construction Kit, and I do want to get at least an inning or 2 into a game because, like I say, I think they've done a lot of work on the ballparks. They look a whole lot better this year. But in the game settings, there's different ways, of managing your universe now that I noticed coming in. I think under the rules, for instance, I thought there was a little bit more options this year. Maybe I'm kind of missing that, but just as I'm going through it, I'm not seeing too much different through here, but I know that I've come across like some settings that seem new to me this year. I think one thing that I like doing is the dynamically evolving league. I don't know how much more they can add here. I think some of these things that I see here, I've seen some things that change that maybe aren't reflected on this list, but it's kind of a nice way to keep you engaged, with a long playthrough if you've got some of these dynamic things checked. The trading difficulties, the rate, the way you want to do the player evaluation. I know that's not new, but it's something that I might also want to play around with, because I think it might be interesting to see what kind of trades you're going to get. For instance, putting the AI's weight on current year stats or previous year stats instead of just the ratings. Player personality ratings, that's something, I always use to show player personality ratings on the profile page. It's not set by default, but I do recommend you go in there. It's this little situation right here, I think. That's something that I always pay attention to as well. Is the guy hard worker? Has got good work ethic? Is he a disruptive kind of player? That's something to know. But for the most part, I just wanted to showcase a couple things there with this new version, mainly the staff roles and personnel changes, and then just get into a game. So let's go ahead and start up this Miami game, and I'll show you just how well the did I want to do that now? Base running, sorry. Base running is going to be the AI. And see, that's even, you've got these different coaches now when it comes to that. So that's pretty cool. I'm still going to set that. So I'm going to do everything else. No warm-up required. Now, I haven't played around too much with the different... it's going to be NOLA too, starting. I haven't played around too much with the different views. That's something that was new last year that I really thought was kind of cool. But, man, you look at the detail in the stadium. I mean, the crowds are not there, but, that's something that doesn't ruin the immersion for me as far as the game. And it may not show up as well in the playthrough here, but there have been some enhancements to the 3D images, the player images. Motion capture, I guess, was probably something they worked on, but I've noticed it seems to be a little bit more fluid. And maybe we'll get started and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead. We're going to be batting, and I'm using just the standard view, but I may show you how you can change that up a little bit. I usually use the fast playthrough speed too. So we got right away Brad Miller with a pop up to left. Adam Duvall on the Marlins. So if you go into here, no, it's not there. If you go into your options up here, you can change back into the game options. You can change the way the camera works. You can follow the ball, for instance, which I have a hard time with that. Initial camera view wide, pitch. Let's change it to home plate, and then the action camera view. Let's say center field, just to give you an idea how you can change it. Go back to game action and let's see what that looks like. Oh, I don't like that. Looks like it was a home run. Wow. Definitely don't use this view. Oh, that's crazy. You can also do it from here, I guess, the view settings. So, action. We're going to do the default camera for action. So that was Gregorius, who's off to a great start for the Phillies with this playthrough. Big home run. Bryce Harper was injured for a while. He was out for a month, I think. So he hasn't got much playtime in. He drives it straight away to center field. 2 outs now. Alec Baum, not looking as great as he did in that rookie season, that rookie shortened season last year, but his ratings are still good and he's developing. He strikes out here, so I think he's got a chance to be one of their better players. So now getting to the Phillies pitching, Eddie Alvarez. I'm going to play him straight away. Doesn't look like he's got any kind of pull, and he bunts, and that's probably going to be a hit. That was a good bunt. No, throws him out. It's Nola with a good play there. Miguel Rojas. Weak grounder to third. He's going to have to hurry, and looks like he eats it. He doesn't make a throw. I thought that's what the character animation showed. So this guy's got some decent speed. There's a lot of things here. You can hold the runner. I'm not too keen on that in this situation. I'll probably let him go. It's an 0-2 count. Oh, and that's a liner up the middle, so it's a base hit. I should have held the runner, but he's going to stay at second anyway. So 2 down for Adam Duvall, who I didn't realize he was with the Miami, but he is. I'm not going to hold, but I'm going to play double play depth on the infield. And let's see what that gives us. And that's going to be a grounder to Bohm and easy double play. So let me get one more inning. Didn't want this episode to get too long on us, but what else we got going on here? So we got Mccutchen up. He's struggling. Like I say, he's great player in his prime, but he's one of those guys that his contract's really going to impact this Phillies team. Look at that sky in the background there, if you can see that. Mccutchen strikes out. Herrera, I've got him in the lineup. I don't know why. The Phillies have some issues. If you're a Phillies fan, you know what I'm talking about. But I still like, and Knapp is getting time in catching today, looks like. What's he playing? Yeah, he is playing catcher. So he, Real Muto getting the day off, and Knapp gets a hit there. And Torreya's playing as well. I didn't really do much to set the lineup. And that's a liner, and that's going to be a double play, looks like. All right, so bottom of the second, we'll get through this inning and then move on. Brian Anderson coming up. It's a 1-0 count. And another hit. Man, they're getting to Nola early here. 3 hits already. And I'm going to play... this guy, really haven't seen much of him this year. He's just been called up from Double-A. He's got some potential, but not a lot. I think I'm going to go double play depth on the infield. Hopefully get a lucky bounce or a pop fly. That'll work. And then Garrett Cooper up. Again, I'm going to go double play depth. Maybe I'll get lucky here. Oh, that sounded like he hit it harder than he did, but 2 away. Now, catcher Sandy Leon. Let's get through this inning. Oh, that's a liner, but I think, yeah, Harper there for the catch. But that's just to show you the enhancements they made to 3D ballparks and play. Hopefully that'll, if that's something that you like to do, you're going to be really in for a nice treat when you start playing it out, because I think it obviously looks better than it's ever looked. But that'll do it for this first look. Get ready for some playthroughs, and again, if you have some suggestions for me on teams, let me know. I'm kind of wide open at this point. I have no clue who I want to go with. I would love to do the Phillies, but I've done them before, so I'd like to do, at least for the YouTube channel there, I'd like to do something different. And there's a lot of good options. I know I've seen Colorado, which really intrigues me, but there's a great YouTuber who I've watched before with Out of the Park Baseball who's doing a Colorado playthrough. So I don't want to get too many. Well, I just want to stay away with teams that other YouTubers are showcasing. So I don't know how to go about it. There's some though that are intriguing me that I've never played before either in the game. But give me your suggestions, and I'll look for them. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel. Remember to subscribe if you're interested in checking out my playthroughs, or if you want to see kind of the way my playthroughs go. I've got several out there from every version. I think since 2018 is when I started doing this. I get pretty in depth. I'm a conservative player for the most part. I like staying within budget. I don't like cheating the AI. I like keeping, when it comes to trades and free agent signings, I like keeping the challenge pretty balanced, and it means a whole lot more to me to build a team through the draft than it does through free agency. Those are kind of things that, it's just the way I like to play the game and always have. But check it out, and I will see you when I get these playthroughs going. Thanks for watching.